Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into the very strange and fascinating world of writer Raymond Bernard. It's a world that might just be hiding right beneath our own, filled with secret orders and, believe it or not, bizarre slips in time. So let's kick things off with a story that sounds completely impossible, one that Bernard documented: the very strange case of a man known only as the Hunchback of Amsterdam. Imagine this. One evening, this man is just standing in the middle of a packed city square, Lides Plain Square. You got the sounds, the lights, the crowds, and then, in a blink, it all just vanished. The world around him completely ceased to exist, replaced by this absolute terrifying void. When his senses finally came rushing back, he found himself in what looked like the exact same square, but it was centuries in the past. The asphalt was gone, replaced by cobblestones. Cars were gone, replaced by horses and carriages. Everyone around him was dressed in the fashion of the 17th century. He actually managed to have this bewildering conversation with a local guy from that time who was just as confused by his modern accent as he was by, well, everything. Then, just as suddenly as it all started, he was thrown back into the noise and lights of his own time. He checks his watch and finds out this entire impossible journey lasted only 5 minutes. So how in the world do you even begin to explain something like that? Well, Bernard's writings suggest the answer isn't about time travel. Not really. It's about a hidden reality, a world operating just behind the curtain, governed by people who understand its true rules. He talks about this secret high council, but listen, this isn't some shadowy political group pulling strings. According to his sources, it's a cosmic one, a council of 12 people whose job it is to guide humanity's evolution through the ages. And the council Bernard describes is, well, it's unique. Its members are mortal, they're not some eternal gods. Their mission is totally cosmic, not political. And this is the really important part. They are strictly forbidden from holding any direct political power. Their one and only job is to act as cosmic regulators. They make sure humanity hits its developmental milestones on schedule. If we're lagging behind, they might subtly nudge things to speed us up. If we're moving too fast for our own good, they might gently apply the brakes. So, how does this hidden council have anything to do with the Hunchback's weird experience? Bernard explains it with this really powerful analogy he calls the clock of reality. Okay, let's break this down. First, I want you to imagine all of time, the past, the present, and the future, all laid out on the face of a giant clock. Second, each number on that clock face, each hour, represents a completely distinct historical era, and each one exists as its own separate plane of reality. Third, our normal consciousness is basically like the clock's hand. It points to just one single moment in time, our now. But here is the crucial point, the real mind-bender. All the other hours still exist at the same time. History isn't gone, it's just happening on a different frequency that we can't normally tune into. And this is a brilliant way to explain what might have happened. The Hunchback didn't travel through time. His awareness just jumped. The hand of his consciousness momentarily slipped from his hour to a totally different point on the dial, and then it just slipped right back. This whole concept of hidden structures is pretty fascinating, right? I mean, if this cosmic order is real, it makes you wonder what other unseen organizations might be operating right under our noses. Not on some cosmic scale, but right down here on the street. To see how this idea could work on a smaller scale, Bernard gives us a much more grounded example. A highly organized, and surprisingly ethical, corporation of thieves in the markets of Marrakesh. Now, you really wouldn't expect a corporation of thieves to have a code of conduct, but this group absolutely did. It wasn't some chaotic free-for-all. They operated on a really strict and, honestly, a surprisingly moral framework. I mean, just think about this. They had their own social security system, pooling their money to care of sick members. They had very specific rules about who they could rob. Stealing from the poor or the weak was forbidden. And their internal code demanded absolute honesty. A thief stealing from another thief? Unthinkable. It was a whole functioning society in miniature. And this example just perfectly captures Bernard's main idea, that our world is layered with these unseen structures, from a cosmic council guiding our destiny all the way down to a band of thieves governing a single city square. So, when you put it all together, what's the central message woven through all these bizarre and unusual encounters that Bernard wrote about?
Well, first, that our world might be guided and influenced by forces we just can't see, operating according to some cosmic plan that is way beyond our everyday understanding.
Second, this idea that time might not be a straight line at all. All of history could be happening right now, just existing on these parallel planes that are just out of our normal perception.
And third, that these highly structured secret orders, with their own codes and their own moralities, are operating just beneath the surface of what we think of as normal society.
Ultimately, Bernard's work doesn't really ask us to believe any of this blindly. Instead, what it does is it challenges us to question the very nature of the reality we all take for granted, and to wonder what other worlds, what other rules are hiding right here in plain sight.